Hey everyone, Ashley Main, Mike Beer here with the Daily Racing Form, taking a look at the Virginia Oaks, which is now part of the Kentucky Oaks Trail with points on the line. A mile and a 16th for the 3-year-old fillies, and a little bit of a unique configuration, Mike, at Colonial Downs, with this being a one-turn mile and a 16th race. And so we take a look at the field here, 8 fillies entered, and in my opinion, there really isn't a standout. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it's not an easy race to decipher, just because I don't think any of them have really necessarily proven themselves yet as a stakes horse. Although, listen, I do feel like, as far as at least the morning line goes, the two horses that are the two favorites, I think those are the right starting points for this race. They both look like they have a chance to be pretty good.
And that happens to be the 3 Go Wells Delay and the 8 Fondly being at some of the shorter prices on the morning line. We'll take a look at the time form US pace projections for the Virginia Oaks, and you can see a couple of fillies might be in the mix early. That includes the 6 You'll Be Back, as well as the 1 and the 3. And Mike, the LP, the late pace flag, is attached to the 2 Low Key in here, but how do you see the pace playing out?
Yeah, I thought it was really tough to decipher. I didn't see a ton of pace in this race, but I guess we'll see how the track configuration affects that. Actually, it's a one-turn mile and a 16th with a long run up the backstretch. So these horses have plenty of time to get themselves sorted out.
We'll kick it off here with the number 1, Icona Mama, who was third last time out in the wide country at Laurel Park, going 7/8. Prior to that, though, this was before her layoff. She was a decisive winner in the Shamrock Rose. And really, when you go through her past performances, Mike, she's pretty solid filly. She's put in some good performances, especially when she was third to Lacara, and she looks like she could improve off the last out.
I thought the Pocahontas was a decent effort for sure. I thought she had every chance to win that race, and wasn't quite good enough. But I thought she ran fine in there. I'm not sure that anything she's done since then, thrills me that much. But I can see her getting a good trip in this race from the rail.
The 2 Low Key up next here for Tom Amos was a winner last time out. It took her a little bit to graduate. That race, though, fresh off the layoff, 6 furlongs over a sloppy track. For me, a little hard to endorse now, stretching out to a mile and a 16.
Yeah, I don't like this horse at all. We'll see. Maybe she'll stretch out again and be really effective here. But she took advantage of a contested pace last time and just got there.
The 3 Goals Delight won a 2 for Kenny McPeak in the field. She was an impressive maiden winner down at the fairgrounds. She took a lot of hype in a little bit of a condensed field in the Martha Washington. And I just think she was nowhere near as good as her stablemate was that day. And last time out, she came up second in the Rachel Alexandra.
Yeah, I mean, I just think she's the horse to beat in here. Her debut was a really good performance. She didn't take money in there, but she really ran that day. I personally don't think she ran as poorly as it looks in the Martha Washington 2 starts back. I didn't think that trip worked out for her at all. And she ran fine last time, but she's just no match for Good Cheer, who might be the best 3-year-old filly in the country.
Her stablemate is the 4 who did participate in the Honeybee last time out. She was 6th in that field of 13. Prior to that, though, her win at the fairgrounds is a little bit of an upset. She got Lasix in that spot. She's able to sit just off the pace. And I think she becomes interesting if she can get that trip. Obviously, that's not what happened in the Honeybee, but just wonder here, we talked about the pace perspective being murky. Does it set up for her?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, she showed, I thought, in her 2 wins anyway, that she can be forward if she has to be forward. So that's a good sign for her. I thought she was, maybe the toughest call in the race, actually. I'm not sure how hard I'm supposed to be on her for the Honeybee last time where she didn't run well. Everything she did before that, it just suggested she was trending the right way. And this feels like the kind of spot where she can really bounce back.
The 5 early on up next is the Daughter of Union Rags for Safi Joseph Jr. And I don't know what to make out of her. I can make a case for her. I can make a case against her. I think in her first 3 starts, those against New York breds, none of them really do anything for me. The 1-2 back, I should say, was the restricted. And then she came to life at Gulfstream Park, dominating winner, but she got Lasix. She had a compact field. I don't know what you do with it. I think the factor here, too, she's going to take money with Flavian Pratt aboard.
Yeah, that was my thing, too. I mean, if she was going to be some kind of big price in here and you thought, all right, she finally turned it around last time, they stretched her out and it really worked, I could get behind that maybe, but I wouldn't take any kind of even mildly short price on this. Or she ran fine last time, but she also got an absolute perfect trip in that race.
The 6 You'll Be Back is the stablemate of the 2 Low Key. And as we take a look at one of her performances, let's go 2 back to the year's end at Oakland. I know the track was muddy that day, but she was forward from the gate. This was her only try around 2 turns. And I actually think it was a decent performance. I think Adira, who finished behind her, there's been some talk, or a little bit of talk about her, and she just comes up second best. But I'm very curious about this filly stretching back around 2 turns. I think for her, it should be a plus where others might have to answer that test.
Yeah, I agree. I think it could really work for her as well, especially because it's a one-turn mile and six. I think that could work for the only. I think she's pretty good, and I think she's really dangerous in here. The one issue I have in every race so far, she just looks like an impossible horse to ride. Man, she doesn't want to settle early in her races. She just pulls and wants to be forward in her races. I thought that race that we just watched right there at Oaklawn, thought it really cost her in there because she wouldn't settle. She had a perfect position early, and she wouldn't sit there. She dragged her rider up to contest the pace, and she got tired at the end.
And I appreciate that reminder. I said 2 turns, but that's the one thing we forget about Colonial. Mile and a quarter is the main track. So it is a 1 turn, mile and a 16th for this Virginia Oaks. The 7 girl math up next. She was able to graduate 2 starts back at Turfway Park, but different surface prior to that. It just feels like she was always knocking at the door. It wasn't working out. And then I was curious to get your thoughts on the Cincinnati Trophy. Obviously, White Rocks caught a flyer and was out there in a huge lead with Victor Carrasco. And I know the field was technically getting close to her. I don't know how close they were really getting, and this filly was just 5th in there.
Yeah, they were never catching that runaway winner last time. I don't know. I feel like there's an argument to be made. She's another horse I think is just terribly priced on the morning line. I would never take that price on her. But I think there's an argument to be made that she's just as good on dirt as she is on the all weather. And now she gets to switch back to this surface. She'll have blinkers on for the first time on dirt here. She seems to have plenty of tactical speed to me. I don't know. I didn't think she was that hard to make a case for, but I would want a way bigger price than the 5-1.
And then rounding out the field is the 8 Fondly. We'll take a look at her maiden score, which was on debut, and kind of look at her. She does have to check at one point in this race. She's going to come on here and then have to actually sort of alter her course a little bit as well. And I know she's green, she's all over the place, but you just look at the way that she's going to pass these horses in front of her, Mike. And I think she responds really nicely from Sammy Marin in this spot, and now gets Rado Ortiz Jr. aboard. And I think she's the type, when you watch these final strides to the wire, that a mile and a 16th should be in her wheelhouse.
It does seem like you look at her pedigree too. It's all distance. It just feels like more distance isn't going to affect her at all. And she just did so many good things in that first start. I love once she got into the clear too. I love the way she was just sort of reaching for ground there. She was really, really impressive first time. And I'm not surprised Grand Motion decides to step her right up into a stakes race.
And I know the Buyer's not what we see, maybe what we would see in California or somewhere else, or some of these races in Kentucky where you're seeing horses pop 80s or 90s. But you mentioned it, it's the visual there that might really sell people on the 8 Fondly. So that's the field for the Virginia Oaks. We will move to our top picks in here, and we're not in different camps today. We both like Fondly. We showed that replay. We talked about why we really like her. I just think that the future might be bright for her, and there are others where I don't think at the price they are, at least on the morning line, they're that intriguing.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want to be too hard on Gowell's Delight. I kind of do feel like she's the horse to beat in here, but it's not like she's shown herself to be some kind of superstar. And I just sort of feel like if anybody comes out of this field that turns out to be like a real player in the 3-year-old filly division this year, it might be the 8.
We just have seen her the least compared to everyone else. So both the 8 on top for us. You can see Mike goes 8-6-3-4. I go 8-3-5-6. It's the Virginia Oaks, the 8th of 10 races this Saturday at Colonial Downs. Good luck.